Picture of herself on Instagram as a toddler with her father, as if to say, yeah, my dad's a felon, but look how cute I was. I know Trump was certainly thinking it, but that's all.
Give Jared Kushner $2 billion, billion with a B, just months after he left the Trump White House.
Trump has finally made the difficult decision to cut ties with her father, Donald Trump, marking the end of a long and tumultuous relationship. The pressures of the ongoing hush money trial appear to have emotionally severed their connection.
And Ivanka goes into the kitchen, answers the phone. Oh, it's Daddy. And what did Daddy want to know? Whether they were watching Kent McDougal.
Do you understand that to mean that it was your father's financial statement?
I mean, it says what it says, but I don't have any recollection of this. I don't know what I meant by it.
Even some of Donald Trump's closest allies have begun to distance themselves after his conviction, leaving him increasingly isolated. Despite her deep, unconditional love for her father, Ivanka, at 41 years old, has chosen to prioritize her own life, focusing on her career and children rather than becoming further entangled in his political controversies. According to reports from The Insider, Ivanka found her father's unpredictable and often chaotic lifestyle too overwhelming to follow any longer. As a result, she has taken a definitive step by announcing that she will not be endorsing Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign. In a public statement following his remarks, Ivanka made it clear this time around, "I am choosing to prioritize my young children and the private life we are building as a family." While she positioned this decision as a move to focus on her family, some speculate that her withdrawal may be driven by deeper reasons. Over the years, Ivanka may have come to realize the complexities of her father's character, including his shortcomings as a parent and a spouse. These realizations might have pushed her to distance herself from him, not only for her own sake but for the well-being of her children and family. Reportedly, the strain on Ivanka and her family has been immense. For the past 3 months, they have been traveling frequently, attempting to escape the hostile environment that has developed in their neighborhood due to her father's controversies. Now, as she takes this bold step toward a new chapter in her life, it remains to be seen how the Trump family dynamic will evolve, with Ivanka firmly drawing a line between her personal life and her father's political legacy. Trump, fully aware that she cannot resolve her father's mounting legal issues, has remained resolute in her decision to distance herself. No matter how much she has tried to offer counsel in the past, Donald Trump has always done as he pleases, often disregarding her advice. Now, as his legal troubles worsen, he is relying on a team of attorneys and advisors, leaving little room for Ivanka to step in, even if she wanted to. After enduring the emotionally draining 4 years of her father's presidency, Ivanka appears ready for a fresh start. From 2017 to 2021, she and her husband, Jared Kushner, were among Donald Trump's closest advisors, playing a pivotal role in shaping his administration's agenda. Ivanka's primary focus during her time in the White House was promoting women's economic empowerment. She championed initiatives like entrepreneurship, workforce development, and skills training, hoping to create opportunities for women and strengthen the economy through job creation. During her tenure in the White House, Ivanka made the most of her position, navigating the influence and reach that came with being part of the administration. Meanwhile, her husband Jared Kushner's business dealings raised eyebrows. His private equity firm reportedly benefited significantly during this period, receiving $640 million from outside sources. Most notably, Kushner secured a $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia, a deal that continues to draw attention and speculation. Ivanka, having endured the pressures and controversies of both her family and the White House, now seems focused on reclaiming her personal life, distancing herself from the chaos of politics and the legal turmoil that surrounds her father. She is ready for a new chapter, one that prioritizes her own career, her children, and a future apart from the Trump political legacy. Despite the immense financial success they've achieved, much of it by sidestepping regulations meant to prevent conflicts of interest, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner have also endured significant emotional and mental strain. Yet throughout it all, Ivanka never once publicly criticized her father during his presidency, a notable point considering the many controversies that defined his time in office. This includes Donald Trump's repeated, baseless claims about the 2020 election being rigged and the violent insurrection that followed, which led to multiple casualties. Now, as Donald Trump has announced his 3rd bid for the presidency, Ivanka has made it clear she will not be by his side this time. Her earlier Instagram post hinted at her decision, signaling her intent to focus on her family and private life. This move reflects her growing distance from her father's chaotic political career. Despite remaining loyal to him throughout his turbulent 4 years in office, she has drawn a line, perhaps recognizing that she cannot continue to follow him down a path marred by legal battles, scandal, and growing isolation. It's worth noting, however, that neither Ivanka nor Jared has expressed any public regret for their support of Donald Trump during his presidency. They have shown no remorse for their roles in his administration or for standing by him as he faced one controversy after another. Even as Trump's reputation has plummeted and many of his former allies have distanced themselves, Ivanka and Jared seem to have detached themselves quietly, without acknowledging the lasting damage caused by those years. Their decision to step away may be more about self-preservation than reflection, as they now seek to protect their personal lives and reputations from further harm. The couple, now occupied with their own pursuits, seems to be taking credit for surviving what many describe as a political train wreck. Though they are no longer standing by Donald Trump, they are not actively denouncing him either, maintaining a strategic distance that allows them to move on without fully confronting the fallout from their time in the White House. Among the many controversies surrounding Donald Trump, one that has been particularly disturbing involves claims from former aides that he made inappropriate and lewd comments about his daughter Ivanka's appearance, even speculating what it might be like to have sex with her. These shocking remarks have added another layer to the strained dynamics within the Trump family. As Trump continues to navigate his legal troubles and plans for his 2024 presidential campaign, one family member, Donald Trump Jr., remains in the picture, though notably sidelined from any significant advisory role. Even Trump himself, despite his often erratic choices, seems to recognize that putting Donald Jr. front and center in his campaign would be a mistake. The reason? Jr.'s erratic and often bizarre behavior is becoming increasingly hard to ignore. Donald Trump Jr. has become known for his unfiltered and frequently incoherent public appearances, often appearing confused and misinformed. It's as though with each attempt to outdo himself, he further exposes his lack of depth. Imagining Donald Jr. taking on a pivotal role in Trump's presidential bid is almost comedic each time he speaks. It's as if the audience is watching a live improv show where the jokes grow more absurd with each punchline. His speeches have become infamous for their outlandish conspiracy theories, peppered with factual inaccuracies that make it difficult to take him seriously. The unpredictability of his statements, from bizarre theories to blatant misunderstandings of basic facts, has turned him into a magnet for public ridicule. Every appearance seems like an attempt to break the record for the most collective face palms in a single moment. Even though Donald Trump might care for his son, it seems clear that elevating him to a prominent role in the campaign would be akin to giving a child a microphone at a press conference. Chaos would surely follow. Strangely enough, when considering the alternative of Donald Jr., Ivanka's relatively composed presence now seems far less problematic than it once did. While Ivanka has chosen to distance herself from the political arena, Donald Jr. continues to linger, but it's evident that even Trump knows better than to give his son too much of the spotlight. Trump has always stood in stark contrast to her outspoken and controversial brother, Donald Trump Jr., but she hasn't been without her own share of scandals. With Ivanka now stepping away from the political spotlight, Donald Trump has lost a key figure who helped maintain a constant public persona on his behalf. Her ability to remain calm under pressure was an asset, and it's likely something Trump will miss as he faces his current legal and political challenges. But those days are behind them, and Trump is left with family members who, in comparison, make Ivanka's composed demeanor seem almost saintly. Eric Trump, in particular, has emerged as a new source of controversy. While Donald Jr. has a reputation for his unfiltered outbursts and questionable intelligence, Eric seems to be taking the lead in what some might call a race to the bottom. His role in supporting his father through thick and thin, especially during Trump's trial, shows his loyalty, but it also highlights a distinct lack of the grace and restraint that Ivanka once brought to the table. Eric's daily presence in court has set him apart from other family members like Melania and Ivanka, who have distanced themselves from the more turbulent aspects of Trump's legal battles. While Donald Jr.'s unwavering, if misguided, loyalty to his father might be seen as a testament to his devotion or lack of critical thinking, Eric's steadfastness during the trial has brought him even further into the spotlight, though not always in a positive way. In the absence of Ivanka, who was once a steady hand, Donald Trump is now surrounded by relatives who can hardly fill her shoes. Their public personas, whether it's Junior's erratic speeches or Eric's clumsy attempts at loyalty, highlight just how much the former president relied on Ivanka's composed, strategic presence during his presidency. Now, with the family's internal dynamics shifting, the question remains who, if anyone, can step up in her place. Eric Trump seems to be the one member of the Trump family who doesn't show much interest in helping others achieve their goals. Whether his actions are driven by loyalty, a lack of expertise, or something else, one thing is clear: he isn't benefiting financially from his relentless support for his father. Despite mountains of evidence that suggest otherwise, Eric seems to believe his unwavering loyalty will somehow make a difference in his father's troubled legacy. This loyalty, however, has not won Eric much favor, especially in light of some of his recent public missteps. A prime example was his controversial Memorial Day message, which sparked outrage online. His tweet, instead of paying respectful tribute to those who sacrificed their lives for the country, struck many as tone-deaf and offensive. The post, which read, "They gave up everything to save America," was accompanied by a recent photo of the Trump family. Eric added his own flourish with the statement, "And we'll do it again." Rather than offering a solemn tribute, many saw Eric's message as an attempt to elevate his family's role in American history, which led to widespread backlash. Critics were quick to point out that, far from saving the country, Donald Trump's time in office had, in their view, caused more harm than good. The idea that the Trump family was positioning itself as a savior of the nation left a bad taste in the mouths of many, casting doubt on the credibility of Eric's statement. This misstep only deepened the perception that Eric is out of touch with the public mood. While he seems convinced that his loyalty and devotion will change the narrative, for many it's only adding fuel to the fire of criticism. His Memorial Day message is just another reminder of how disconnected the Trump family, particularly Eric, seems from the reality of their actions and their impact on the country. As critics continue to question the role Donald Trump played in saving the nation, Eric's attempts to reshape the family's image are falling flat, making it clear that his efforts to preserve the Trump legacy might do more harm than good. The controversial Memorial Day post featured photos of several Trump family members, including Melania and Donald Trump, Eric and Lara Trump, as well as Donald Trump Jr. and his girlfriend Kimberly Guilfoyle. Conspicuously absent from the image were Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, adding to the intrigue surrounding Ivanka's growing distance from the Trump family's political affairs. Many individuals, including critics and the general public, found the post distasteful, especially given that Memorial Day weekend is meant to honor the sacrifices made by members of the U.S. military. The post's backlash was swift. Adam Kinzinger, a former Air Force second lieutenant and vocal opponent of Trump, felt compelled to break his promise of staying away from political commentary over the holiday weekend. Responding to Eric Trump's tone-deaf message, Kinzinger tweeted, "I have to make an exception for this. Nobody from your family tree has ever given their all." He added, "Your weekend tweet was so daring, Benedict Arnold will soon be linked to you. Being so little, you have no concept of what it means to serve." His cutting remarks highlighted the disconnect between the Trump family's rhetoric and the reality of military service. Eric Trump took things a step further with a decision that many found even more distasteful, turning Memorial Day into a sales event. Following his controversial tweet, the Trump campaign store launched a huge Memorial Day sale offering 25% off on various Trump-themed merchandise. Items like beer mugs, MAGA caps, and Trump Pence flags were marketed as part of the Memorial Day promotion. What should have been a day of solemn remembrance instead felt like a crude attempt at cashing in on a national holiday, leaving many appalled. While Memorial Day weekend is often associated with retail sales, the Trump campaign's use of the holiday to raise money for Donald Trump's presidential bid and his legal fees, particularly those related to the Stormy Daniels case, was viewed as a step too far. The Republican National Committee's involvement in promoting these sales further angered critics, who felt that exploiting the sacrifices of American service members for political gain was a low blow. This tactic wasn't just seen as insensitive but absurd. It wasn't simply about selling merchandise, it was about tying a solemn national holiday to Trump's ongoing legal troubles and his campaign's financial needs. The contrast between the holiday's significance and the nature of the sale made it appear more like a practical joke than a legitimate campaign move, fueling widespread criticism. As the Stormy Daniels case continued to loom over Trump, rumors swirled about Melania Trump's potential reaction, with some speculating that she might distance herself from him. In response to Stormy Daniels' suggestion that Melania should leave Trump, the former president publicly claimed that their bond was stronger than ever following his conviction. However, many saw this as an attempt to control the narrative, disguising the real strain that Trump's legal battles were likely having on the family. No matter how many times Donald Trump claims that his family stands united behind him, his actions often tell a different story. Melania Trump has become adept at playing the sympathetic figure, managing to maintain a certain distance from the political chaos surrounding her husband. Despite her efforts to stay out of the limelight, Trump can't help but mention her, even when she's not present. In a recent interview with Fox Friends, he commented on Melania's health, stating, "She's fine, but I think it's very hard for her. She is doing great, but she is going completely insane from reading this crap." This remark raises questions about the strain that his legal issues and public scrutiny have placed on their relationship. Since the verdict was announced, there have been no reports of anyone visiting either Trump or Melania, which adds to the sense of isolation that seems to envelop them. Trump has taken to spending time alone in his Trump Tower residence, reflecting a loneliness that many observers find poignant. He occasionally steps outside to wave at the small group of admirers who still show up, even though they haven't explicitly invited him to join them. This scene paints a picture of a man who, despite his bravado and public persona, is grappling with profound solitude. It's hard not to feel a sense of heartbreak at the sight of a former president reduced to seeking validation from a handful of onlookers. The once mighty figure who thrived on crowds and adoration now finds himself isolated and alone, grappling with the consequences of his actions and the chasm that appears to be widening between him and his family.